Hey everybody, welcome back. Live stream Tuesday afternoon, President's Day's done. We had a full day of trading. I want to give everyone just a couple minutes to join the live stream. And yes, I'm going to share with you my number one stock performance-wise in my portfolio. And today that stock just kind of went off the rails. It's pushing to mostly all-time highs. There's one other day that beats what happened today. Gio Rodriguez. Gio, I am trading a little bit of natural gas just through using United Gas Fund, UNG. So not trading UGAS or DGAS, but just UNG, and it's one small position. I can share and talk about that today a little bit. What's up, Dick Tomasco? How are you? So how was the trading day today for both of you, Gio and Dick? I'm super excited to jump in this today. What I want to do is talk about the markets, talk about the SPY, the Qs, the diamonds, figure out kind of what happened today, if there was any sell-off or if we just hung high, just to kind of go over that. Then I want to show you what I traded today. I closed out some options contracts. I want to share those with you guys today. And I also want to just talk about my number one performing stock and the strategy options-wise that I used to build this position and why it was so effective and why where I'm sitting right now with it, it's really comfortable and really easy to trade right now because I've built sort of a buffer in terms of a profit zone. So I'll share that with you guys today, and we'll kind of do a little bit of everything. But let's jump into chat for a second. Let's see. Great top of VT. Two green trades. Geo, very nice. Dick, very nice. Awesome. Two green trades. Can't beat that. So let's talk about the spiders. So SPY representing the S&P 500. Let's see. Oh, you went snowboarding. Nice, Dick. Very nice. Okay. So we're going to jump into the SPY first. As you can see, let me change my tool here. Let's zoom in just a tiny bit. So we can see the SPY today stayed in a tight range. It pushed up, it pushed down. It ultimately looked like it might roll over a little, and then it closed up. We ended up with a slightly green day from where it opened, and it sort of just left a little sort of hanging out doji. There wasn't a ton of range or a ton of activity. It just hung high again. So not a pullback, just sort of paused, kind of hanging out, sort of resting, which is interesting because we're in this long grinding market you can see right here where we're just heading higher. We had a pullback here, a tiny one, and then we kind of continued higher. And so when people say we're really overextended, we need a big pullback, or we need a downside move, two-sided action, what I've noticed in some of the larger cap stocks is if they rest for enough days in a row, that's sort of sufficient. That's almost like their equivalent sometimes of a pullback. It's just a bunch of small green dojis just sort of spread out horizontally is the equivalent of some rest in some world of trading that we're involved with. And a lot of times they'll build a base and then move higher. So if we got a couple more days of just sideways activity right here, and we had the MACD flatten out and the RSI kind of gently drift down, I wouldn't be surprised if it went even higher. It's the strangest thing right now because we're just in this power grind, as I've heard people refer to it, where you're just clicking off these just small days, but just constantly moving higher. Then we get an occasional slip down, but then we just recover, recapture, and keep moving. So that was the spiders. If we go over to the Qs, take a look at the Nasdaq a little bit. A little more activity here, a little more range. We opened lower, closed higher, closed at another all-time high. I guess not closed, but had an all-time high today of 235.17, which is incredible. So over in the Qs, moving higher, and then I'm just going to take a quick peek at the diamonds and for the Dow. So this actually gapped down, was up green a little bit, but ultimately finished small red doji. So very small red day in the Dow. And let's see. Joe, you're so right. So in the chat right now, Joe's talking about SP, oh no, is it SPCE? Yes, Virgin Galactic. And Joe was talking about this thing the other day when it was up. I think, Joe, tell me, am I right? Was this like in, like around $23 when you were talking about it? And then it ripped to 38. I didn't buy any because it was so overextended. That just violates my rules. But I'm curious to know, Joe, did you jump in? And if you did you top ticket? Did you get out above, I don't know, above 35 on this gigantic wick? This is a crazy move. But Joe brought this up a few days ago, and it's amazing. SPCE, Virgin Galactic, Sir Richard Branson's company with space travel, and they're talking about, yes, 23. Joe was talking about it around 23. So they're talking about SpaceX and Virgin Galactic, and they're mixing and talking about both of them, and I think it's getting people excited, and traders that are maybe priced out over in Tesla have come over and just looking around here. There's just a lot of hype between the two companies, and I think ultimately we got that pop, and then there were a lot of people being very bullish, and then the FOMO came in, and those traders piled in, and this thing just ripped. So, yeah, exactly, Joe. It was overextended. If I bought that and it dropped on me, I wouldn't be able to live with myself after that. Oh wow, you sold 36 and scaled out starting at 35 to about 37. Joe, that's like trade of the year. That's fantastic. Way to go. That's really exciting. A little bit of what happened. There wasn't a lot going on, but I wanted to show you the #1 stock that in my portfolio, and that right now is MDB. So MDB is a database provider, and I used to work in software development, and I'm familiar with MDB, and that's why I got involved with this originally, was because I knew what they did. I felt comfortable with the business, and I decided, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and start taking a peek and see what's going on here. And so I started to slowly build a position, and I got involved with some covered calls in MDB, and I want to show you why this is so powerful in the options world, being able to sell covered calls against long stock in order to reduce your cost basis. So let's say that you buy a stock at $160 and then you immediately sell a covered call against that stock. Let's just say you get $10 in premium. So now your break even, your cost basis is $150, not $160, because you have a $10 cushion that you acquired in that gift of the premium when you sold the option. So what I've been doing is I have long stock, I've slowly added to the position, and granted, I have added small pieces, and then if I got a good pop, I would sell those small lots of stock, and then as it pulled back down, I'd buy a little more. But I've worked myself into about 200 shares right now, and I've really been holding this thing for a long time, and I have been selling covered calls, and this thing has been unbelievable because it's been such a big mover. I think that MDB is a lot like Roku sometimes in the way that it moves, and it can move a lot. Volatility has been really good over this past 6 to 8 months. And so what I've been doing is just consistently selling covered calls. If I get breached, I'm rolling up and out trying to save the position, salvage the position. Now, you can see down here, if you look, let me bring it over here. See over here this break even on all my charts that I have covered calls on with the long stock. I always write in what my break even is, and right now, because of all the activity I've had in MDB with selling covered call after covered call after covered call every time it expires, or even just rolling out and up, adding time, rolling up, trying to stay ahead of this action. My cost basis on MDB right now is $98.99 per share. So right now it's trading at 177. So I'm about $78 and a penny, 78.01 cushion. So that's how powerful that is. So let's say the markets have a really good correction, and let's say MDB has a 20% sell-off. It's not going to really cause a lot of dramatic emotion out of me because I'm just playing within my profit cushion. And even in the downtrend, I'm going to be continuing to sell covered calls if that comes along. Now, if it doesn't, that's fine. I'm good with it. I'm good to go higher with MDB. So I do want to share though, right now, my strike in MDB is 150, which is right about here. So you can see I'm $26, almost $27 in the money. And I'm watching this position very closely because I want to get a little further on. I want a little more time value to come out of this before I decide to roll out and up. So yes, it could be kind of some people consider it a little bit scary because they think, well, it's going to get called away and I don't want that to happen. And my experience has been that when you do have some good time on your side, having your shares called away isn't as likely as when you're closer, like the week of or 2 weeks out, when you're getting really close or close to a dividend sometimes. Now, MDB doesn't have a dividend, but we are far enough out on this contract right now that I'm sitting pretty comfortable watching this and saying to myself, I want to see it go higher. I am going to roll out in time and up, and that's good. So 150 is okay, but here's the kicker. If I open up my active trader window, you can see that my average price is 130. Goes 139.81 to 150 where my strike is. Even if I get called away on these shares and I happen to lose them all, the minute I get called away, I'm going to get paid a little over $2,000 because the difference between 139.81 and 150 on 200 shares is a little over $2,000. So it's just sort of a win-win. It's a really protected position now because I've built it slowly over time, and if you apply patience to these covered calls, you can really reduce your cost basis so that you can maintain a massive cushion like this so that when you do have fluctuations in the market, it doesn't bother you as much. You just keep selling covered calls, and it almost becomes like a little your monthly income generator, a little engine that just sits in the corner, and every month it kicks out money because you just keep selling calls. You don't really care where the price is going necessarily because you've built a large cushion on things. Now, sure, we could have a catastrophe, massive meltdown in the markets and MDB could go to 90, right? And then I would be obviously below my break even. But with this big of a cushion right now, it just keeps me feeling at ease and helps me to not make any weird decisions if we do have a correction. I feel like the responsible thing is to wait it out, but it's hard to wait things out when you're in the red. But right now, I'll stay in the green until we get below 98.99. So MDB, my best position. It's up really good. It's up almost $7,500 right now in total. I'm going to keep rolling out and up. And obviously, I'm going to keep updating you guys on how this position is going and sort of just keep you in the loop on when I'm selling another covered call. It'll be a little while before I do. I got a little ahead of myself, so I'm waiting for the time to come in, and then I will sell another one, and I'll let you know when I do that. But that is my absolute number one performing stock right now is MDB. And the kicker for today is that today's price action made this the second highest day in price that it's seen ever compared to there's one other day. The day that it threw this big wick and went to 184.78, that's the only day that it's been higher than where it was today. So it has me very excited that we have the possibility that MDB may break out above its highs and maybe establish another level. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'd love to hear your thoughts, but let's dive into the chat and let's take a little Let's take a look here. Let's see. Wish Roku was at 176 LOL. MongoDB, it trades like Roku. I love trading Roku. The only thing I wish I knew how to trade options. I would have so much money around. Okay, so Joe, yeah, just we'll keep talking options. Tasty trade like I recommended the other day, and then in my video bank, check out the put video and the covered call video. Check those out because they kind of break down the simple topics. And then go to tastytrade.com, click on the Learn tab, and go through their courses. They're free. You'll learn a ton of information, and then you'll catch the bug. You'll be hooked on it. Let's see. I wish Roku, is that price 2? TA on Roku. Let's take a look at Roku. Eric, you want to look at Roku? Let's do it. Let's see. Even if that was still obvious. All right, so let's jump into some things. All right, Eric, let's take a look at this. So Eric wants to take a look at Roku. Roku is an interesting beast, and we've had some good times together, Roku and I. So right now, technical analysis. We can all see this channel, right? We can see this descending channel that we've had. I drew a line on the top of it. You could easily draw a line on the bottom of it, but it had been just range bound through this channel. And then it popped up, got some good news, and then it had an earnings beat with some strange guidance. It popped huge, which allowed me to cover one of my put options and get out and be done. And then it spent the entire day selling off. And this is the strangest move I've ever seen in Roku, followed by a gap up today and continuation of the sell-off. So this got me kind of licking my chops like I want to jump back into Roku because that's such a options chain for Roku. And we come down here, current implied volatility percentile of 27%. What's wrong with that? Somebody in the chat tell me what's wrong with current IV percentile of 27%. What's wrong with that? This is critical. And Joe, this is something you need to know because this is how the world of selling options goes round. Current implied volatility percentile 27%. Is that good, bad? Is there something else we should know? Anyone that wants to throw the answer in the chat, I'd love to hear it. It's important. The IV percentile is basically the rank. It's the implied volatility measured against itself. So if implied volatility in the last 12 months was at 120 and 50, then consider 120 100% and 50 0%. And now this year, any of the volatility is measured on that scale. So if it's at 55, then that'd be 2 or 3%. If it moves up to 110, that's closer to 95%. It's measured against itself. So the previous 12 months, high and low, that establishes this range, and then everything moving forward gets measured against that and placed on that scale. So let's see, what does Eric say? Don't you not like trading that low of IV? Exactly, Eric. So don't like trading that low of IV. Tasty Trade talks about trading IV rank of 30 and higher. I've had some weird experiences with 30 to 50. I kind of stay away from that sometimes unless I'm really excited about the stock. But I typically like to go IV rank of 50 or higher, 50 to 100, and that has me on board with selling premium. Because if you come in here and you look at one of these contracts, normally with Roku with a higher IV rank, these premiums for selling puts are much higher. So it makes it less attractive because if we sell this right now with an IV rank at 27, what happens if some news comes out, some fear gets injected into the markets, and implied volatility balloons on us? Say it goes to 60%. Now, all the premium prices, all these prices went up. We don't want them to go up once we're in the trade because we have to pay to close. And if we bought low, and then, or if we sold it low and we have to pay high, we lose money. We want to ultimately sell it high and then pay back low when it's cheaper. We want it to be more expensive in the front end and less expensive in the back end so that we can make money. We want to sell it for $2 and buy it back for $1. That way we can keep the dollar in between. We don't want to do the reverse of that. We don't want to sell for $1 and then have to close for $2 and ultimately lose $1. So that's the reason why I don't like it. So what I'm going to be doing right now, Eric, is just watching Roku closely. And now if you don't want to trade options and you're looking to trade long stock, then clearly we're getting back into, and we'll do some technical analysis here, but you can kind of take a look at some of these levels, like in here, that little pullback. We had a little hiccup there. We had some basing here. We've had a bunch of touches in there. So if I come in and just kind of look at where all these touches are occurring, and then I just draw a line here and make it solid. You can draw lines anywhere on a chart and kind of make something up, but I typically look for opportunities where there's been a breakout with a pullback, touch and go, a breakdown with a breakthrough, a pullback, a base, a breakdown, a line that's been interacted with a lot, and then a touch here and a touch there and a touch here and here and here. A lot of activity around this line, which is right around the 128. We'll call it like let's call it 128.50. Now, it's always a range. We always talk about that. It's not to the penny, so it is a range. But this line right around this 127 or 128.50 line, that's been kind of showing as maybe a level of support right now. Now, if you get a breakdown through that, it could test the top side and become resistance and then start to trend to the downside. But it has been showing. If you're looking to nibble a couple shares, you're wanting to add a little bit to your position, this could be a spot you'd want to do it, because we are settling down right on top of the 200 simple moving average. So we are trending to the upside. We are above the 200. It's had a nice pullback. The earnings weren't horrible. There's just a lot of drama in the markets right now surrounding streaming services. There's kind of a streaming war going on right now. And Roku is an agnostic aggregator of streaming services. So if you believe in what Roku is doing and you understand that Roku is not a streaming service in and of itself, it's an aggregator of services, I think Roku's got some upside. Now, one thing you might want to think about is Roku's still not making money. Look at these earnings. They're still negative. Roku's still not in the black. They're still operating, somewhat in the red, which is fine. Tesla's been in the red forever. They're exponentially growing, and Roku's been growing at a pretty good clip as well. But you can see ever since back in August of 2019, we've really stayed along this level for a while now. We've had ups and downs, but we're kind of back at that same level. So August, so not quite a year, but some significant time around that level. So I hope that was helpful as far as technical analysis on Roku. The one thing I want to get into real quick is I want to also show you, I think you guys were around, I sold a put in Carvana. You guys might have remembered this. This had some really juicy premium. We got this pullback day here. So on this big pullback, I went ahead and sold a $78 put. And just one contract, a single lot. And then we got the run up 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row, with today being a huge pop to the upside. I got paid $4 when I sold the put, the 78 put. And then today I put out an order to buy back the put to close it for $2, and I got filled. So got paid $4, paid $2 to close. I kept the $2 in between, so $2 profit per share on 100 shares. Anytime, Eric. I'm glad that, I hope this is helpful. The technical analysis is nice to blend in. Options trading is a lot of probabilities and kind of price action based and watching for outliers, but I like to add technical analysis just to feel comfortable with knowing where a stock is relative to where it's been. If a stock is parabolic like SPCE, I know that Joe has done awesome on this, but I'm not going to touch this. And the reason why is there are no levels up here. This is all new stuff. Now, if you came back down in this area and you said, hey, what about this, I don't know, almost $20 level, that's a little, I'd feel a little better about picking up some shares or selling a put around the $20 level, just because we've had some touches and a break. But we don't know. We got to wait and see for it to come back down. It's literally in space right now, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens. All right, let's look at. I got a shared Luckin Coffee because I was able to close one of my puts. I was able to buy to close a naked put on Luckin Coffee that I had out at 30. Let's see, I had it out at $35, and this pop today allowed me to buy that back much cheaper. Close that out, and now I'm out of that one. I do still have 3 other contracts at different strikes in Luckin that I'll be watching, and I'm trying to make a decision as to whether or not to close this out at 50% or just not care about it, because if I happen to get put the shares, if it goes below my strike and I get put the shares, I'm actually okay with it because I'll turn it right around and sell a covered call. I like Luckin Coffee. I find it very interesting what they're doing and their business model in China. I know that China can make people a little uneasy as far as how their things are trading and, you know, are they reporting things accurately, but something about Luckin has me interested. The volatility's been very high in Luckin. The premium is extremely juicy for a $40 stock. So there's a lot of upside to being involved with Luckin in terms of the options trading world. But for right now, I do still hold 3 contracts. I'm just kind of hanging out and waiting. I do want to see a move higher, but ultimately, I don't know. I might just let it play out and see. I might let it run to expiration and see if I get put the shares or not. Any tickers from you guys in the chat? Anybody? My Carvana, I took off my Luckin. Oh, the other one I took off was a Zscaler trade. I don't know if you guys are aware of Zscaler Scout Cloud Security. I tried to combine the 2 words. Cloud Security. It had this pullback in here, and I went ahead and sold a put naked and then decided just to kind of wait it out and see what would happen. And we had some mixed back and forth, and then today's pop allowed me to get out for about 64. I think the calculation I did was 64% profit on this one. Now it was only $1.10, so I collected $110 and then just paid $50 to close it out ultimately. Joe Dagger wants to talk about T-Doc. I know this one's high, Joe. What am I going to say in this scenario? Joe knows exactly what I'm going to say. It's overextended, right? With no support levels, it's just been sort of just grind. I mean, not even grinding. It's been parabolic, moving up really, really high. So I'm not touching T-Doc, Teladoc Health right now. If it does have a nice pullback, you know, this is a play, long-term play. T-Doc in medicine is this is a huge technology that's helping a lot of rural hospitals and bringing a lot of specialists into hospitals that can't afford to have a specialist, or maybe they're too rural to attract a specialist. And it's just opened, you know, a lot of services up to patients in rural areas or even underserved areas. Joe, you were in Luckin today. What did you do in Luckin? Hang on one second. I got to adjust the sunshine. Yeah, let me know what you did today. Joe, you said you were in Luckin. Did you go options or did you buy some stock? You got the lucky trigger finger. Overextended the hours. Felt today I had it since last week. Okay. T-Doc. I don't know DDD. Is that a penny stock? I don't really get into the penny stocks a whole much, but maybe this one isn't a penny stock. I don't know. 3D Systems. I'll have to do some research on this one. This one's overextended as well, but it is ranging up here. So I'd have to learn a little more about them to understand what's going on. But some of the lower price stocks, I just don't. Trading options on them is just a little hard. There's just not a lot of premium typically when they're this inexpensive. If we look at the options chart, let's see what we've got here. I mean, it's just tough. I mean, you just can't. There aren't as many options as I like to have. And if I get in a bind and need to roll up or out, there just aren't. The options chain isn't very significant, so it makes it a little more difficult to trade. Let's see. You also put in SDC. SDC. What is this? SDC. Yeah, Joe, I don't know what this is. I'm not touching this. This chart is way too weird. You have to tell me what this is. I have no idea. Let me see. Another position I wanted to just talk quickly about because it falls along the same lines as my MongoDB position is Facebook. Facebook has been another one that I've been going ahead and grinding away on covered calls. This one I haven't been involved with as long, but I like Facebook. I like that Facebook has no debt, and I kind of like that Facebook doesn't make anything. You know, that they're not buying widgets and assembling things in a plant in some other country and then shipping things. I like that they are kind of avoiding that, and they're just, you know, it's software, it's marketing, it's advertising dollars. They just don't have any, oh, there's no debt. They have no debt. So I like that for a long-term play because I do think that Facebook at some point, you know, I think we could be sitting around and Facebook is doing crazy things, not like Tesla, but being, you know, like Shopify, like stocks that have been moving really big, these tech stocks that have been moving recently. I feel like the eyes are going to become, they're going to say, wait, let's look at Facebook now. It's going to be the less expensive of a lot of big names, and I just wonder if it's the next one to significantly move up. I could be wrong, but I'm in it for the long haul. I've been selling covered calls, and I've got my break even down to 170, 155. So that feels good to me, and today we had a nice big move up. So it's just kind of nice seeing a little progress there. And then we had this little tip-top peak way up here, right around 220, and we broke through and challenged that a while back. But then Facebook had some news that was a little iffy, a little weird. We got the push back down, but now we've been reclaiming. We had missed an earnings miss, as you can see right here. They were estimating $2.60 and they hit $2.50. So kind of an interesting dramatic drop, and now it's been regaining. So with the last 3 days, there's been a big significant move back to the upside. So on this drop after earnings, I did nibble a few more shares, and we've now been pushing back up to the upside. So we'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see what happens. Smile Direct Club, the dental thing. So Joe, is that SDC Smile Direct Club? That's cool, but you know, a better play than that might be, and I don't know, but Align Technologies, because they were interacting with each other. But Align Technologies is a real deal company that is doing a lot, and they've been sort of impressive. You know, they're profitable, and this stock can get volatile. If we look at its, let's see what it is right now. So right now it's not, but not long ago when they had around earnings time, their current IV rank percentile was way up, and their premium was, I know it's an expensive stock, but their premium was huge. Yeah, right now it's very, very low. But you could stay way out of the money. You could sell a 10 delta for, you know, a few $100. So things were looking really good there. I wouldn't touch it now for options just because the implied volatility is so low. But this might be another play that you might want to take a look at if you do want to get involved with the Smile Direct type stuff, the dental stuff. Align Technology, they make those clear braces, and they have, I don't know if they do the direct to consumer. There was some issue with supplier. They had an agreement with someone else, and there was some drama, and it caused some dropping in price, but you can see they did just bounce off the 200 simple moving average. So Align might be your move. Yo, Dave, Kiss, what's up? Let's see, you're on the go. Gonna check this out later. Dave, where are you? Where are you traveling to? Catch me up real quick. Man, I wish you could be in here. We'll watch it later. Comment, Dave. Let me know if there's anything that you missed, anything else you wanted to see in the live stream. We're just kind of reviewing the markets today. I'm sharing some positions. MongoDB was huge. Facebook's been huge. Can the markets go higher? That's the question. You know, this has been such a wild time in the markets that, you know, we'll go back to the SPY real quick. Look at the spiders. Had a friend ask me last night, you know, what is the deal with the markets? Can they possibly just keep going higher? And, you know, a lot of people are saying, you know, short the top. It has to go lower, And Maybe. I don't know. The markets are so weird. I don't want to sound like I'm some expert and I know what's going to happen, because nobody does. I mean, what if you were saying that right here? Short the top, short the top, short the top, bounce, and then look where we are now. Like, you could have been shorting the top at 314. Now we're at 338 in the spiders. So this is intense. This is until the trend starts to shift, until there's real breakdown. I'm keeping my positions hedged by selling covered calls. That's been helpful for me. And I'm just going to keep rolling along. I'm taking very selective entries on big pullbacks in stocks. Definitely not going to buy high. Definitely not buying SPCE, Virgin Galactic. I'm staying away from that until it comes down, if I still like it. But right now, I'm just kind of chilling out on this and maintaining some cool and trying not to get involved, because the FOMO is real. I mean, this is insane. I don't know where the Qs are going. I don't know where the diamonds are going. The diamonds are the only thing that sagged a little today. It's had a little more two-sided, like, baby pullbacks along the way. But we'll have to wait and see. This is very, very interesting. So we'll wait and see what happens. Anybody have any other questions? Anyone want to jump into anything? Joe Dagger said Apple. I think we talked about this the other day. Apple was forming sort of what seemed to be like an overhead resistance area, and was just kind of hanging out and trading sideways, and then got the drop today. I think there was the news about the coronavirus. The coronavirus caused Apple to shut down production for a little. Anytime you say that, there's a lot of drama that introduces, and you're going to get a pullback. Will Apple go higher? I have no idea. We'll have to wait and see. But it could. You never know. It's trading sideways. It's cooled off a little bit. It's sagging on the RSI. It's not parabolic right now. So is it resting, waiting to go higher? We'll have to wait and see. Let's take a real quick look at Tesla, just to look at it one more time. I'm going to remove these lines. But those lines were that was that sort of wedge I was talking about, that it break up or break down, and sure enough, it broke up. So it's closed at 858.40. Currently has a high price of 968.99. Can Tesla continue to move higher? Possibly. After hours, it's trading at 872 right now, and it closed at 858. So it's up about $14 from the close. So Tesla continues to move higher. Let's see, Joe, you're saying that your friend's holding Disney contract and he's crying. So what do you think about that? Depends on what the contract is, Joe. What type of, did he sell a put? Do you know what kind of contract he put in play? Boy, Disney actually looks decent for a naked put, but I don't think see the current IV rank, 19, it's just too low. You would have risk of getting an expansion in volatility, which could really hurt you if you're trying to close the position out. So I'm not going to gamble on Disney right now. I need more volatility than that, so we'll have to pass on that one. But I'd be curious to know more details, Joe, about what your friend has going, but that sounds a little painful. Anybody else have any questions? I wanted to pop on, do a live stream. Sorry I wasn't here at the open of the market. It looks like I'm going to be available tomorrow morning to go live right before the open. So feel free to tune in then, and then I like to do recaps in the afternoon and stuff, and just talk stocks. So anyone who has questions or tickers, throw them in the chat. We can break them down. I didn't put on any new positions today. Today was kind of a sort of a cleanup day. I was sort of taking things off and moving things around, and just sort of making adjustments. So not a lot of activity in terms of collecting premium today. And the one thing we did not look at was the VIX, which is our volatility fear meter. So in the VIX this morning, what happened was we did get a gap up, which initially seemed good, like we were going to swell in volatility. And then ultimately, we started to sag back down and closed at 1483. So volatility is up just a tiny bit, but it's definitely not in the 18s or 17s where things start to get a little wild. So VIX at 14.83. We'll see where that goes in the morning. I hope everyone has a fantastic evening, and so glad. It was hard yesterday, wasn't it, with the holiday? having Monday off. Glad we're back. Tuesday was good. We'll get into the market open tomorrow. Bring your questions to the live stream in the morning. Bring stock trade ideas. Throw them in the chat. We'll talk some ideas. I'll share some potential plans, potential trades that I want to put on tomorrow. And if there's a stock that comes up that has good volatility that I like, I'll share it with you all, of course, like always. But we'll see you all in the morning. Have a safe night. And thanks for tuning in. Have a great night, everybody.